Hey everybody, it is 9:30. I still don't see anybody in the chats as of yet, so we'll wait a few more minutes here. And I'm going live from 9:30 to 10:30, but if a whole lot of people don't show up, then I will cut it off a little bit earlier. Hello, if you're here, just say hi. And I'm just waiting for maybe a few more people to show up, and hopefully we will get this underway. So, how are you been this evening? I know somebody's watching, but I don't know who it is, so. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is tonight I was planning on talking about herbs and essential oils and fodder. And those are the three hot topics that I'm talking about this evening. Hey, Skinner Farms, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. I don't have a lot of people in this chat. I did advertise, but you know, it's been a minute since I've actually gone live. I think my last lives were in September, so. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking about herbs, medicinal herbs, essential oils, and fodder. Those are the three hot subjects that I'm going to be talking about tonight. And feel free, if you know anything about those, to comment in the comment section, because I mean, I know a little bit, but I don't know that much. And I am still learning. So, you know, let's go ahead and chat it up a little bit. These are the two reference guides books that I had been going off of. One of them is this one, this Rosemary Gladstar, which I'm really into as of late. And I got a couple actually more books coming from Amazon. This one is just regular Herbs Beginner Guide. And then I have this Essential Oils book. Oh, I need a sound, so my dog is barking. I'm sorry, my dogs are bark so much, it's ridiculous. And then I have this Essential Oils book. This is not a Rosemary Gladstar book, but this book is actually really cool. Your wife deals with doTERRA. Is that how you pronounce it? doTERRA? That's cool. I have no idea what that is. So, you know, that'd be really interesting to find out. So, if you want to put that in the message spot, I would love to know what that herb does and what, you know, what it's good for. So, but yeah, so I have this book from, I'm going to talk about, medicinal herbs from this book first. You can see it. And there are several different types of herbs and stuff in here. And one is, some of them you can't really grow around here, and that one of them was turmeric. And oh, okay, so it's essential oil. Okay. One of the herbs that you can't grow around here is turmeric. I mean, I guess you could if you had a greenhouse and you kept it heated all the time. You can do that. There's a couple of the herbs that you can't really grow around here. Hey, whoever's just entered the chat, just make sure that you comment below so I know you're here. I have 3 people in here, but so far Skinner Farms is the only one that has popped up. So just leave a comment, you know. My goal someday is to have a garden that looks like this, an herb garden. Who doesn't want to have an herb garden that looks like that? Absolutely fabulous. I'm even considering growing or getting seeds, Goldenseal seeds, and I really, really, really want to grow ginseng as well. I would like to have that or have a special spot in my garden for that. So there's a lot of different types of ways to make different types of herbal remedies, tea, tinctures, all different kinds of ways. Uh, you can learn from this particular book. There's different types of herbs or whatever that you can use. Ones that I'm really interested in that I have never grown that I will be growing this year in my garden is calendula. Does anybody really know anything about calendula? You can leave a comment below if you do, because I'm really interested in that herb. I'm interested in the calendula salves and stuff like that. I bought 2 different types of calendula, and I can't remember what. I bought like a regular calendula, and then I bought this desert or thorny. I can't remember exactly. It was from Baker Creek. It was like a thorny calendula. And I don't really know which ones you can grow from a salve for a salve, or if you can just grow all of them for a salve. I'm not sure. But I definitely want to work on that and start doing that in our garden this year. I know you can make oils out of it. You can make a cool salve. In this particular book, you can make a face cream out of it. But I don't know. I mean, I've never really have dealt with that before. Have any of you guys ever grown calendula or anything in your gardens? I don't know. But so I just thought that would be cool to do that this year. Josh, I'll send you a message. I don't know who that is. But yeah, so I would really like to do that. And I know calendula is a really popular thing right now among the homesteaders too. I see a lot of people making salves and stuff like that. The main thing is, what is it good for? You know, a lot of people don't know what herbs are good for or anything like that. So in this particular one, let's see, let's check it out. Let's see. There's different types of ways you can use this. So each different, like the oil and the salve are obviously can be do different things, but here it's really, the oil is really good for rashes, eczema, swollen lymph glands, and you can also use it for massage oils and stuff like that. Hey, Old Redding, thanks for stopping by. So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about growing calendula? You know, and have you grown it to the point? Oh, hi, Penny. Have you guys grown it to the point where is it last all year long, or? Oh, okay. Okay. Have you like grown this to where it lasts like all summer long? Does it last over the winter? Does it reseed itself? Do you know anything like that? Because I've never really have grown it before, so I was just curious. And there's several different ways that you can grow calendula or make it into something, and a salve is another one. And that is also really good for eczema. And my son has eczema as well, so. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm backwards. Can you see it? So I just thought it would be cool to grow some calendula and maybe even make it into a salve for my son and see how that works. Now, I don't know, like I know with essential oils, when you're using them for kids, you have to cut them. You have to cut them down because sometimes they can be really potent and you don't want to hurt your kids. So that's just something that I was thinking about. So I got 2 different types of calendula. Oh, sorry, I can't see very well. I got my contacts in, but even the small print, I have a really hard time seeing. So I'm like, get real close to the computer. So sorry. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it took 9 hours. I sat for 9 hours for this thing. So, yeah, it took a long time, but it was fun. So yeah, so calendula is number one on my list this year. I have several other herbs that I'm really interested in. If you know anything about calendula, please, just put it in the comments. I'll be happy to discuss anything with you. Yeah, I did it all 9 hours at once. Yeah. I actually stopped and had something to eat and then came back. So I guess it technically wasn't 9 hours straight sitting, but it was. I mean, but it was fun. The guy said he wouldn't do it unless I sat for 9 hours. So yeah, I didn't cry. I mean, I didn't cry. Actually, my last hour, I think it was like my 8th hour. He was starting to work up here towards my my bone right here. I don't know what this is. My shoulder bone. Shoulder bones connected to, and I don't know. But anyway, that is the part that really, really hurt. And I actually was like, can we get this done? Because I was like let's move this along. And he was like, okay. He's like, I'm going to try and get this done. But he's like, I don't want to work really fast because I'll mess it up. He's like, you don't want that. And I'm like, okay. So I waited and waited and waited. And finally he completed it for me. But yeah, I was really surprised that I sat that long too. And in the beginning I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then like my 8th hour, it was pretty bad. But I didn't cry. But yeah, so calendula is on my list. Anybody interested in calendula? I got 2 packets of seeds, 2 different types. So I don't know. I'm going to try that out this year. Hopefully I will do some kind of video on it. I don't know. It all depends. And I am going to do starts. So hopefully I can get some starts going and then I'll have that planted. And that's another thing I don't really know a whole lot about is I don't know if it's going to take over my beds. I have about 6 raised beds out there. And that's another thing. I'm like, I don't know if I should plant it in a pot or if I should plant it in my raised beds because I don't want it to just take over everywhere. And I know this year when I grew my zinnias, I had planted them in a pot, but they just took over the entire pot. Which, I mean, I love zinnias. They were beautiful, and that's why I planted them. But, like, I don't want my calendula to overpower my dill or to overpower my oregano and stuff like that. So if you know anything about that, go ahead and leave comments below because I'm super curious about calendula sabs and all of that kind of stuff. Second herb that I'm really, 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 really interested in, if you are interested as well, it's chamomile. I did buy one type of chamomile. It was the German chamomile. I guess there's 2 different types, and I didn't know that. But chamomile is really calming, and I am going to grow that for tea. You don't really think about it until winter hits about how much hot things you drink in the wintertime. And then this year, like winter hit and it's super cold out. And then all you can think about is hot chocolate and tea. And I'm not really into coffee. I don't really drink it that much. We only drink it mainly in the wintertime just to have like something warm to drink. So I'm really, really interested in doing a bunch of different combinations of things, specifically chamomile. So chamomile is really good, and it says in this book that it's really, really good for fever and anti-inflammatory and stuff like that. So you can drink that on an everyday basis, and it's not going to hurt you. And it's a perfect like calming tea. So I thought about, not really big chamomile fan as far as the taste. So I thought about maybe mixing it with something good. I have blueberry bushes, and I thought about drying them, and drying the blueberries and then making a tea out of them. Putting them, or I even have elderberry. So I thought about maybe drying some elderberries and yeah, exactly. I love hot chocolate. It's really, but unfortunately, unless you put something in it, it's really not that great for you. I mean, I try to get sugar-free, but you can't even find that on the shelves most of the time. You have to buy it like through Amazon or something. Hey, Big Blue House Homestead. Good to see you, by the way. I haven't seen you in a while. let's see. Chamomile, calendula, and basil all grow bigger when you prune them. It shouldn't take over. Okay, cool. My basil this last summer did excellent. Excellent. And I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about that because anytime that I have ever grown basil, like my first year garden, when I grew basil, I grew it in a stinking pot. And okay, a pot is really great, like when you're living in a city or something and you don't have the space. But I did have the space, but I was like, oh, I'm just going to grow it in the pot and see how it goes. It sucked. It died. And then it bolted really quick. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, I'm not going to be basil. This last year, I planted a succession of it. So I planted a row of basil. And then like a week later, I planted another row of basil. And I pruned it because I watched a ton of videos about pruning the basil. And I cut it. And you're not supposed to do more than, you're supposed to like leave a part of it at the bottom. So you just like cut the tops. And I got so much, I have those little storage mason jars, and they're not regular mason jars. They have like a really small type lid. I think they're like this big. And I filled up one of those jars full of dried basil. And the funny part about that is we planted so many tomatoes this last summer, and I still have them in my freezer. I haven't done anything with them yet, but I want to use those spices for making pasta sauce and stuff, and I still have a bunch of that. So that's really good to know about chamomile and about calendula, because I didn't know that you can prune that just like basil. So that's really cool. But yeah, mainly when you think about it, I mean, when you're in the summertime, you don't think about hot things, you think about cold drinks and stuff like that. So I really have to get myself prepared to think about more about winter. And, you know, and so I'm thinking more of along the lines of like lemon balm, which I have plenty of, and I'm thinking more along the lines of chamomile. So I want to start drying maybe some elderberry or maybe some blueberry as well, and putting that in with the chamomile and seeing how the flavors go, and maybe create a really cool combination, and seeing how that goes. But yeah, that's something I'm really considering also for my garden. Have any of you guys, and to be quite honest, the tinkerer's wife really got me on this herb, and it is chickweed. Well, I don't know if you can see that. Have you guys ever seen this in your garden? And you know what the funny part was, is I didn't even know I had it in my garden until the tinkerer's wife pointed it out. You know, and so I have tons of chickweed out there just growing, and it grows in like the weirdest spots in like the most porous soil. But I had tons of it. And chickweed is really, really high in vitamin C, calcium, potassium, iron, zinc. And there's like a really, you know, it's really good for you. So I'm considering on making some salves out of that. I have a ton of it. A poultice is really good for that as well. So I'm thinking about making something out of that. Have any of you guys ever made anything out of chickweed, or even ever heard of it? I didn't really even know anything about it until she pointed it out to me, and I was like, yes. I'm like, this is so cool, and it just grows wherever. And I'm always interested in herbs and stuff like that do that. It's really good for your skin, and it can help with like itchy skin or irritated skin. And I think that's mainly what I'm going to be into, like coming this around, because my son has eczema, and specifically this winter, he has really has developed like itchy skin and dry skin, and it seems as if like it doesn't matter how much lotion you put on him, like it's just dry and itchy, and then he gets a rash. So I'm really considering doing alternative medicine for him, and making poultices and stuff out of chickweed and calendula, and make salves and stuff. Okay, now everybody really, this next herb, I'm like, everybody really likes it and has said it's like sweeter than honey when you make something out of it. But is it really great? I mean, I cannot, this is dandelion root. Have any of you guys ever made anything out of dandelion? Now, Baker Creek has 2 different types, and I thought this was really cool, and I thought about planting it, but like I said, dandelion, anytime you see it, it just like takes over everywhere, so I didn't really want it taking over my garden, but they do have a really cool pink dandelion. I've never seen a pink one, and I thought that would be so cool to have some of that. But have any of you guys ever made anything out of a dandelion? Or made, I knew someone that made jelly, dandelion jelly, and I've heard of dandelion wine. So have any of you guys ever made anything out of dandelion? I'm just curious. Ah, hey babe. That's my husband. Yeah, thanks for, seriously though, thank you for showing up tonight, guys, and hanging out with me. And like I said, I'm only going to be here till 10:30, and this is really my first live since September, and I'm just trying to get the ball rolling again and start talking about things that really matter and stuff like that. So, but yeah, they say that dandelion is really good for your liver, and so it's really just good for you all in a whole. So not just for your liver, but I was just curious if anybody's ever made like a tea out of it or anything like that. And if so, if you can leave a comment below, just tell me how it tastes, because I am really curious. Drying the roots are tough. Now, what do you mean like dry them? Like they just don't dry out, or like how does that work? I'm curious. And this is the Big Blue House Homestead, and she is really awesome. I don't know if you've seen any of her videos, but she saves seeds, and she is very well educated as far as saving seeds and stuff goes. So you'll have to check out her channel because it's really cool. Oh, okay, sure, that's fine. Hold on, let me see if I can remember how to do it. Sorry. I don't know if I remember how to do this. Sorry, and I didn't want to put you in timeout, so give me a second. Sorry. It says, they feel like rocks when they dry out and you have to soak it for hours to make a tea. So then, you know, you think about it, it really might not even be worth it. I mean, everybody loves dandelion, seems to, but it makes me wonder if they're just saying that because they want to be pompous. Like, oh, I made something out of dandelion. Like, ooh, you know, I don't know. So, it's because you're cool. I'm really interested in your channel. So yeah, I think you're cool. So, but yeah, so I really appreciate everyone for showing up this evening. Like, it really means a lot to have your ears and just to chat it up and chat about different stuff. I am going to be talking about essential oils too. I'm going to tap into that. And I really am interested in fodder. And I would like to really talk about that. If you have chickens, so stick around for that. Towards the end of my end of the night here, I'm going to be talking about that because I had purchased some fodder seeds and I'm really interested. So yeah, so okay, we talked about dandelion, and it might be just a pain in the butt, you know, and you might have to, that might be an herb that you have to be like extremely patient about. I don't really know. I've never made anything out of it, and to be quite honest, to me, it's a weed. So when I'm looking at my yard, and I don't ever cut them, I don't like to cut them down because I am a huge bee advocate. Like bees, I have tons of mason bee houses around my house. I don't have a beehive, but I love bees and I plant flowers just for the bees. And I really respect that. And so I don't touch the dandelions, but I'm curious. Made a dandelion bread pudding. It does taste like mushrooms. See, that's probably, I don't like mushrooms, so thank you for pointing that out. I might not ever eat dandelion. Like, I know my husband one time, he picked one up and just ate it. He's so much braver than I am, because I can't do that, and I get grossed out so easily. And so I'm so glad that you pointed that out. So obviously Echinacea is, I'm gonna kind of just skip through that because everybody knows what Echinacea is. And so I don't really think I need to talk about that. Have any of you guys ever thought about growing this? Can you see it? Oh, hold on. I'm backwards a little bit. Goldenseal. Have any of you guys ever thought about planting that? It's supposed to be really good for skin infections, bronchial congestion, and digestive issues. Not to mention, it's really, really good for your immune system, like super good for your immune system. And I'm going to tell you a story. Maybe like 6 years ago, and not 6 years ago. Wow, I'm like living. No, I'm not. I'm older than that. It was like maybe like 15 years ago. I was in college and I got sick. And I started rotating Echinacea and Goldenseal to boost my immune system. And so when you take Echinacea, you can only take it for like a couple weeks at a time. A lot of people don't know that. Your body gets used to it and then it doesn't work anymore. So then you could take Echinacea for 6 months and you're like, man, I got a cold. Why isn't the Echinacea helping me? I think that's why a lot of people say that herbs do not work for them, is because one, they aren't taking it long enough, or two, they take it for too long of a period of time and then it stops working. So Echinacea is one of those herbs that you can just basically take too much of, and then your body just, it doesn't do anything anymore. So Goldenseal is another one where if you can't take that for a long period of time. But I am really interested in growing this, and I actually came across some roots, because you have to grow, I guess, by the roots, on Etsy. And I was curious to know if anybody has ever attempted to try and grow Goldenseal or has done anything with it. And I'm really, really interested in making salves and stuff out of it. And it's actually, if you have an eye infection, it's really, really, really good for your eyes. So you can do like a saline solution in your eyes and with Goldenseal, and it will help cure it. Also, like I said, when I was in college, I rotated Goldenseal and Echinacea to get rid of an ailment that I had at that time, and it really did work. And I did 1 week Echinacea, 1 week Goldenseal, and I rotated it back and forth. And man, I was healthy, very, very healthy, and it was really great. I don't know if you ever came across Goldenseal or anything in the wild. Do any of you guys ever forage for anything or forage for Goldenseal or anything? Because I was just curious about that one as well. And that's another one where you have to use the roots. So I was curious about if it would be very difficult, like the Dandelion Root, to try and, make something out of it. There is another one. Now, I really suck at growing lavender, so I'm going to talk about essential oils with lavender. It's supposed to be really calming and relaxing, but I really suck at growing lavender. Has anybody here tried to grow lavender? You can leave a comment below, because I'm really curious as to why I really suck at growing it. I was just curious because I have tried growing it before. I've tried growing it in the city, and I tried growing it my first time living here, and it died. And I don't know if I'm getting the wrong type. And I have watched a lot of videos on it, trying to figure out why I can't grow lavender. And everybody says there's different lavenders for different types of soil. So I was just curious. Morel mushrooms. Yeah. Oh, that's really funny that you said that, because for Christmas, I bought my husband a Morel mushroom kit that he can make morel mushrooms. And it's really cool. You put them in a 5-gallon bucket with some water, and then you throw them, you know, on some wood in the forest or whatever, and or like on, I don't know, you're supposed to do it on hardwood. So if you know, have an area with some hardwood that has fallen down or whatever, you can do that. And then like, it takes a long time for actually morel mushrooms to grow. It takes about 2 years. So I thought that would be kind of cool for my husband to do. Plus he really likes mushrooms. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's really good to know. Big Blue House Homestead, because I can't grow it either. And I always thought maybe it was me. Because, you know, I can grow herbs, and I was really good at growing herbs even when I lived in the city. I always had, you know, success growing a lot of them, but like with lavender, it would just always die. I'm like, oh no. And then I had this beautiful lavender bush that was huge. And my dog at that time, it was like this big. It was huge. And my dog at the time loved to lay on it. So I don't know, there was something in the lavender my dog absolutely loved, and he laid on it, and he eventually killed the bush. But yeah, so there was another herb that I am dying to go over, and let me see if I can find it in this book so I can show you a picture. This herb I've been doing a lot of studying on, and let's see if I can find it in here. And this herb is called Valerian. Are you familiar with this herb? Anybody? You can leave a comment below. I'm just curious if anybody is familiar with this, or has used it, or has used pill forms of it. Valerian root is good for you, and it is really works as a sedative to help you to sleep. So I plan on making essential oils out of this, this valerian root. People say that it works like right now, like it makes you tired right away. This particular one, valerian root, has a lot of calcium, magnesium, vitamin B, and stuff like that. However, you can't take too much of it. They say if you take too much of it, that you'll hallucinate. I grow it every year. I was curious. Thank God you do that, because I'm curious as to how this herb works. I got some seeds. How do you? I was reading up on it, and it said that it takes like 2 years for it to fully mature. So I'm curious how you get it to grow, and how you collect from it. Like, how do you do this? I'm very curious. You leave your comments below, because I definitely want to know, because I'm totally interested in this herb. I did buy some valerian root. You can make seeds. You can make tinctures out of this. You can make relaxation formulas. And it says here in this book, you can make tension free formulas. So it's really good to rub on. It'll make you trip. That's good to know, because somebody told that's really funny that you said that, because I was reading and watching a ton of videos. They say if you take too much of it, you will actually hallucinate, and I don't want to do that, because I think that would really freak me out. I'm already a really paranoid person anyway, so taking valerian root, I think, would just maybe add to that. But I'm really curious into using this for salves and ointments for tired muscles, stuff like that. Maybe even using it. My husband has a horrible back, and I would love to, and he has a really horrible neck. He has this problem with his neck. It's called military neck, and something with his vertebrae in the back of his neck doesn't really work quite right, and he gets this horrible pain in his neck, and sometimes he can't even turn his head. So I would really like to set this herb up to where I can make a salve or an ointment or oils or something out of it, so he can use it. Use succession, sow yours. and harvest when needed. Waiting 2 years makes a larger root. Okay. Now, where exactly are you at in the country? Because I live in Northeast Ohio, and I was curious if it would die. So I don't know, like, if it will die and then come back, or if I need to harvest it the first year because it will die. You need to look into arnica. It's the best for neck pain. Okay. I hope I pronounced that right, arnica. Cool. I'll definitely check that out as well. So yeah, Valerian Root, I'm totally in. Okay, so you live in South Carolina, so your weather, it's like might stay warm all year round, so it might work a little better. I don't really know. I hope that it will weather over throughout the winter well, so that it can grow that big root that I want it to do. Does your Valerian Root take over the garden as well? That's another thing. Is like, do I need to plant it in my garden, or should I just plant it in a space outside of the garden to where I can just forage for it? That's another question I had about it, because I'm not really sure. But I definitely am really excited about growing that in my garden as well. This book I highly suggest checking out. I got it at your local Tractor Supply, but you can get it on Amazon. It's Rosemary Gladstar. She makes a ton of books, and her books are really awesome and to the point, and you can read, and there's formulas for different stuff in here. I highly suggest reading it. Very good book. It grows like carrots. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, well, carrots, I think here can survive throughout the winter. And then they will reseed, or they will grow again. Like carrots are a 2-year thing. So to get seeds from a carrot, you have to wait 2 years. So I think carrots here, they will grow it. They will grow again even after they die off throughout the winter. So that's really, really good to know about that. So this is an essential oils book. Who's really into essential oils here? You can leave a comment below. I am really into it. And in fact, just recently I purchased a still so I can actually make essential oils. And I'm really excited about that. There's only a few essential oils that I am super, super interested in. And one of them is mint. Mint is so good for you. It's good for headaches. It's good for everything. And I'm definitely going to be making mint essential oil so that we can use it. But I also am curious about essential oil for mint, because you can make so much things. I mean, I don't know. You should just make so many cool things out of mint. So that is one thing that I am super interested in. There are so many good things in this book. And let's see. Some of it talks about things that you can't grow here. But one of them is rosemary. Have you guys been successful in growing rosemary in your garden? And I was curious about that as well, because rosemary has really, really, really small seeds. And I was curious about how successful you are if you do grow rosemary. You can leave those comments below as well. Rosemary is really good for you because, one, it's really good for your respiratory system. So if you are sick, you can rub that essential oil on your chest and it can help you breathe better. It's really good for enhancing your concentration. It's good for an antidepressant. And it also has a really good antibacterial properties to it. Let's see. I grow lots of mint, but rosemary always dies. Yeah, I'm really curious about that too. And I was always told that rosemary is like really fickle. So I'm definitely going to, I purchased some seeds from Baker Creek, and I actually feel really horrible. I don't know if you guys are into Baker Creek, but just recently they posted that they are shutting down because they had like half their staff come down with the sickness. So yeah, that's really sad. So they shut down their website and everything, and you can't make any orders until Thursday. But before they shut down, I got my order in. I don't really know how fast it will get to me because of everything. And to be quite honest, I'm not really that worried about it. Some people are so mean and so rude about it, particularly M.I. Gardner. I can't believe all the stuff that poor guy goes through. He's trying, he's trying to provide a service for people, and they're just getting so nasty with him. Like, where are my seeds? It's freaking January, people. What the heck are you doing with a bunch of seeds right now? Unless you live in like Southern California. But anyway, I heard it's good for beards as an oil. Good. That's good to know. My husband has a really huge beard, so that'd be really cool. Good to know that. So yeah, I'm really, I'm new to the essential, I'm really new to the essential oil field, and I don't really know everything there is to know about them, but I am 100% curious. If you do essential oils, go ahead and chat it up. I mean, I'm really curious as to what you do and how you do it. Please let me know. And if you can't, I'll put it in the chat. I have an email address at widefamilyfarm@gmail.com. And I'm so into it right now. I'm going to be starting making videos and stuff like that. And I did make my first video already. I was starting to make a pine essential oil. And it really came out as a more of a pine hydrosol, and it smelled horribly. But pine is supposed to be really good for achy muscles and stuff like that. One of them particularly was arthritis. You need to start seeds next month. See, I live in Northeast Ohio, so technically I don't really need to start my seeds. My frost date, my last frost date is May 8th. So I mean, from 6 to 8 weeks from there. So probably April-ish, a little bit before that. I loved watching that video. I was so excited for you. Oh, thank you. It's so cool. Like, I'm so into it, and I'm so into making things. And this last year, I made a lemon balm tincture. However, the funny part about that is I forgot about it, and it was actually in my cupboard for like 3 months, and it was only supposed to be 6 weeks. But it made a really strong lemon balm, and I'm really into that. It's really good for colds and your chest and stuff like that, and we really needed that this year. So I was really excited about making that, lemon balm tincture, and I still have almost a quart of it. I put it in the refrigerator, even though you don't need to. I just needed to get it out of the way. I have 2 refrigerators, one for my eggs, and that's where it is, and then I have another one upstairs. So I put it in the refrigerator. I looked up the company name I sent you on Facebook. 100% natural. Okay, well, thank you for that. Yeah, so okay, so I was talking about, oh, that's okay. That's okay. Thanks for stopping by, Keto Jess. Appreciate it. So yeah, I'm really into it. I'm going to start making a lot of different types of oils and stuff like that. It was actually M.I. Gardner that really kind of got me into it. I went this last winter, I really went down the rabbit hole. I'm telling you what, I went down the rabbit hole watching a ton of videos. And there was one, it's called, you have to watch it with a open mind. But I was really watching this guy, I think his name is Dan, on hardcore sustainability. And you really have to watch, if you can, you really watch him, because he talks about a lot of things. One of them was Valerian Root, but he talks a lot about planting and organic planting and stuff like that, and making stuff. And he lives in a compound though, so you really kind of have to watch him with an open eye. There was a lot of talk about global warming and stuff like that, which may be issues for some people. I don't really know, but you really have to watch it because it's super cool, and he is super knowledgeable. Not to mention, is he super knowledgeable, he has tons of people, followers on his thing, and you can leave him a message and he responds to you. you know, and some people have so many followers or whatever, and you type, say, hey, you know, blah, 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 and they don't ever respond to you. So this guy, he totally responded to me a couple of times and answered a lot of my questions about things. And he's super down to earth. So I really highly suggest watching Hardcore Sustainability. He lives in this compound called the Dancing Rabbit. It's in, I think, Missouri. And they all live in this earth community where they have earth houses, and he doesn't use that much electricity, and basically he is off grid. So I highly suggest watching that show. So moving on though, yeah, so I wanted to make, okay, the first thing you think about when you think about essential oils is like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to make some lavender essential oil, right? But I totally suck at growing lavender. So I didn't really know if I'm going to grow that this year or not. But rosemary was high on my list. So moving on, let's talk about peppermint. Now, mint in general is really good for you, but let's talk about peppermint for a minute. Okay, so it says in the book that it's really good for your circulatory, cognitive stimulation. It's antibacterial, and you can use it for deodorant. I highly suggest, though, not using for deodorant, or you will smell by the end of the day, because I had bought some all-natural deodorant from Azure Standard. Actually, I didn't buy it from there. They sent it to me when I bought. I didn't buy. I sent for their books because I was really curious about Azure Standard, and they sent me a free thing of deodorant. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna try it, and yeah, it just did not work out for me. So, but anyway, peppermint. So it's really good. I said it says it combats scabies, lice, and ringworm, and it really works as a good parasitic repellent. So that's really good, right? And let's say, you know, things go south and you really need those things and you can't get to a doctor. Peppermint would be something that would be really great. It grows abundantly, and it doesn't matter how bad of a gardener you are, this stuff is going to grow, and it's going to grow, and it's going to grow. Let's see. You should check out She's of the Woods. Yes, I watch her. I absolutely love her. Oh, yeah, she's such a great person. And yeah, she swears a lot. So I always warn people, especially in the homesteading community, because there are a lot of Christians and stuff like that. And I don't want to offend anybody for recommending somebody. So I'm really careful about what I do, but I recommend her. I always pre-warn people. I said, she does cuss a lot, but I said, she is amazing, and she really knows what she's talking about, and she describes it and teaches it in a way that teaches you how to do it, and it's really cool. Yes, a little bit of, that's really good to know, Skinner Farms. Thank you so much. It's a little bit of hot oil. It's great for headaches and help with breathing. Yes, I can imagine. I mean, think about it though. You ever have peppermint gum, or what are those mints? Those I forget what they're called. Those mints that you pop in your mouth and then all of a sudden your like sinuses are free. It's because of the peppermint that's in them. And not to mention, peppermint candy is like yum. So totally good for you. May 10th. Okay, hold on one second. I didn't read that comment. Mine is also, but some seeds are better if the plants are bigger. May 10th is what I was always told for Mother's Day. Where are you at, Skinner Farms? If you are you in Ohio or near it? Oh, okay, duh. It says right there, Indiana. Sorry. Didn't read it all the way through. Okay, Indiana. Well, you're not too far from me. So yeah, that's tends to be the frost date for around here. So yeah. Yeah, I can't remember how my husband does it, but we usually end up coming across this problem where our plants are completely huge and we need to plant them in the ground, but we can't yet. And so then we run into this problem where our plants are too big. Oh, that is really cool. I would like to have that recipe if you are willing to share. I know some people don't like to share recipes, but if you are willing to share, that's really cool. You can email me at widefamilyfarm@gmail.com. I would love to have that. That'd be awesome. But if you don't, I understand. But yeah, so peppercorn and basil, that sounds really cool. And I never really thought, you know, there are like several herbs that you can actually smoke to get rid of like chest infections and stuff, and to get rid of like mucus and stuff like that. And basil was actually one of them. It has a really good like anti-inflammatory properties, and it's super good for you. And so basil was one of them. But yeah, so wellness tea. Okay. Well, I'll have to check that out, and I will share it on my Facebook too, so that other people can watch it, because that's super cool. All right, so I've discussed some things from this book. I highly suggest getting it if you are interested in essential oils. This is the beginner's guide, and I'm really interested in essential oils, and there's like a ton of recipes in here, and you can mix different oils. Now, when you're making essential oils, you just use like drops at a time to mix things together, and then you mix it with a like a compound oil, like a jojoba oil or something like that, jojoba, I think that's what they call it. So you're not using all of the essential oil at once. You are doing drops of it at a time. And so in this book, they teach you how to mix and match and how to make your own perfumes and stuff like that. But thanks for sticking around, guys. We got a few more minutes, and at this time, I am going to actually talk about fodder. Do any of you guys have chickens? Any one of you? If you have chickens, please let me know, because that is kind of important. Okay. Okay, so basically I was talking about fodder. Fodder is a really good way of cutting down on your feed cost. And I really am interested in fodder, and I have been doing a ton of research on alfalfa and how good it is. One, it is really good for your chickens, and it's good for the soil as well. So I had recently had purchased alfalfa seeds off the internet. So I'm really hoping that they're supposed to come, I think, Monday, along with a bunch of other stuff that I had purchased. And they're supposed to be coming on Monday. And when the spring comes, I'm actually going to move. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos, but I actually have an electric fence that is around my chicken yard. And I plan on moving that electric fence up. And my chickens have created this massive like empty space of nothingness, because they completely decimated the area of all grass or living things. So what I was thinking is that I was going to move that fence back, and then I was going to plant alfalfa seeds, and then I was going to let the alfalfa grow and get to maturity, and then I was going to move the fence back so that my chickens could eat the alfalfa. And I'm hoping that it works out for us, because it'll really cut back on cost from feeding the birds and stuff. So what do you guys think of that? 6 cows, 3 pigs, 12 chickens, and 2 dogs. Oh, wow, that's a lot. I have soon to be 50 chickens. I have 5 roosters out there. I have 8 ducks. And my ducks usually free range, but I had an issue with raccoons. So I didn't want my ducks to free range, and my ducks were being so obnoxious at night. We had to chase them around just to get them in the duck house. And I was like, we aren't doing that. I can't do it. I can't do that every night. Who wants to go in the backfield at 9 o'clock at night and chase your ducks around? I tried everything. So we just left them be. And so then all of a sudden this year was the first year since we had the ducks that we actually had a predator problem. So we decided to lock them up. But I hopefully in the summertime plan on letting them range. The only problem is that we wanted to put them in with the chickens, but I have a male duck. And so I didn't want him to be the odd man out because you can't put male ducks in with chickens. I love cows and pigs. I'm just into poultry now. Easy steps. Ducks are booger heads. Yes, they are. I love ducks. They're so cute, and I love to watch them. I have a pond. It's not really it's not like a big pond. I have like a big, huge livestock feeder or water, I guess you would say. It was a huge round one that, you know, the previous owners left behind. And so my neighbor came over and dug out a hole, and then we put that in the ground, and then we, you know, put the dirt up around it and everything, and then it just fills with water. And then there's a pipe underneath it that goes out to the stream when it overflows and stuff like that. But so I have that, and I love to watch my ducks swim in that. It's so cute, and they have so much fun. And I love when the tall grass like comes up around it. It's just so cute. But however, my ducks, you know, they're booger heads. So I had to keep them safe. I don't want them to die, and I don't want them to be because of me, because I just let them free range to wherever. So I, you know, had to keep them safe. So I have them in a spot next to my chicken run. More critters to come this spring, but I also raise 150 meat chickens a year and butcher them here on the farm. If you have a chance, check out the channel. There's a lot of different things on there. Cool. I definitely will. We were considering getting meat birds. So that is definitely something that we would definitely watch so we can get a little more educated on that. That'd be really cool. And I'm sorry, please don't be offended if I haven't watched your channel. There's so much, and I try to watch everybody. So I will definitely hold on to that, and I will definitely watch. That's really cool. But yeah, so I plan on planting the alfalfa seeds. And not only can you grow the alfalfa, but you can also grow alfalfa hay and stuff like that. But I definitely want to grow it for my chickens because I want to save a little more money. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm so glad that you guys connected. That's basically what this is about, is to educate people and get them connected with each other and talk about things, because it's fun. Like, who doesn't like to talk about this stuff? So a lot of fun. Well, thank you guys. And yeah, so have any of you guys ever worked with any types of herbs for your chickens? Now, my chickens, they're not 100% organic, but they might as well. I mean, other than their feed's not really is not organic, but they do eat organically outside. I let them eat whatever outside. They eat bugs and whatever. So have you ever considered like planting, like, say for instance, radishes or turnips? Now, I heard a lot of farmers doing that. They plant fields of turnips or radishes for their sheep or their, you know, or goats or whatever. And so then they let them free range then all summer long in the fields, and then in the wintertime as well. So they can just eat whatever, you know, comes from the ground. And then some farmers didn't even have to feed their animals at all, because they use the turnips and they use the radishes and stuff to feed their animals. So I was just really curious about what you guys thought about that. Especially Skinner Farms, if you have animals, have you thought about ever doing that for your animals? And have you ever got like a mixed fodder or something to lay down to help supplement your feed? Because that's, I mean, that's really what we wanted to do, is to supplement as well. Well, that's so good. I'm glad you guys are making friends. That's so cool. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it tonight, guys. I don't really have anything else. I mean, unless you guys want to bring it up, but I just thought fodder was so cool. I am going live 2 more times after this. Every Wednesday night from 9:30 to 10:30. I will be here. Check me out. I have on Facebook under Wide Family Farm. I have like all my scheduled times. I know one time I'm going to specifically talk about medications that you are saving for when you can't get to the store or when the stores are closed permanently or something like that during a, not, I wouldn't say apocalyptical situation, but when everything is closed and you can't leave your house. So I'm going to do a talk about that coming up and the next couple weeks. And then I have some other talks as well. So I will be here every Wednesday from 9:30 to 10:30. And I hope you all can make it because it's a lot of fun talking to people in the community and getting knowledge out there to people and learning together because we all are learning. Not everybody knows everything. So yes, organic is best. However, I don't organically feed my chickens because it costs way too much money, and I have a tremendous rat problem in my barn, and they end up eating most of my feed. However, at some point in time, I'm going to nip that in the bud. We are going to expand our chicken coop, hopefully this year if we have the money, and I'm getting 8 more chickens in January, actually January 18th. I'm going to go pick them up. And hopefully we can expand the coop and I'll be able to do a lot more with that. And we're going to put concrete in the coop along with sand. We have sand in the coop right now, but I'm going to put concrete down so hopefully I don't have rats digging underneath the coop because that's where I'm having my main issues. This is the second live I've joined in 3 months, so I'm happy to connect with you girls. Aw, awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. And I'm so glad that you're able to do that because I know you said you had a lot going on. So I really appreciate it in stopping by and hanging out with us. And we're all learning together. So all of a sudden I'm like getting hoarse. And I feel like I've just talked a lot, but I didn't really talk that much. But yeah, so thanks for everybody for watching. And I really appreciate you coming by. Make sure you join my other lives because it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see you around. This is there any other comments or any other questions? Because if not, I'm going to head out. By organic meaning mainly, I mean it's not GMO or not non-medicated. The chickens go in a tractor. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have a tractor set up, but I don't feed them medicated feed. I did in the beginning when they were babies. I've had them medicated feed, and it is non-GMO. So I don't, I wouldn't slap a sticker on it and say it's 100% organic. Because I did see my chicken eating some styrofoam, so that would not be organic. But we work on it, and they do eat a lot of grass, and they are not free range, but they're free to range within their yard. I cannot just let them out because if I just let them out, they would definitely get eaten. Or today I walked outside. I didn't walk outside, but I opened the door to let my dog in, and I heard this caw, caw, and I was like, oh no, my birds. I was like seriously getting ready to put on my shoes. I was going to go out there and stand with them because if you just go out there and stand with them, the bird will, and there was a red-tailed hawk, but I looked out there and all of my chickens were in the run. And in our run, it's all covered and everything. And so they ran in there. But my turkey, I have a pet turkey. She is not food, but she was pacing back and forth at the door of the run like she was on guard. It was so hilarious. And she's like a 30-pound girl. She's a big lady, and she's got big ankles too. But it was pretty funny. 8 to 10 weeks, then they get butchered. You'll understand more of what I'm saying when you go through some of my videos. Okay. Definitely, I'll have to check that out. And yeah, I think if I was doing meat birds, I think I would do the tractor. And I totally would tick off my mom because my mom lives next door, and I would have the tractor in the front yard and I would move it around. I know my mom would be so mad, but I don't really care. But I would definitely do that. I do have space in my backyard too for that, and that would be really cool. And it would help with the grass, the giant grass that we get out there in the summertime too. So that would be something to think about. However, we do think if we are going to get meat birds, we're only going to get like 25 at a time because, hi, Brighton Farm Homestead, how you doing? So we only think we're going to get like 25 at a time because we did butcher our turkeys and we had 8 of them and it took like 6 hours to do it. And we had 3 people even. So it does take a long time when you're doing it by yourself. And I don't know if I could do it. I had a really hard time. Like, I'll eat the meat, but I don't know if I can butcher it. With the turkey, I had a really hard time with the turkeys because I got attached to them, and they were so stinking cool. And turkeys are cool. They have a ton of personality, and they would come up to you. And then we had this huge tom, and I just love male birds. One, because they have a ton of personality. And I love when they fluff out, especially the turkeys. They get that blue head and they fluff out. I just fell in love with the tom, you know, and I was really upset. I know we had to butcher them, you know, but you know, it still gets to you a little bit. We have 2.5 acres and we have 2.5 acres, and part of it has a barn. We have several outbuildings, but we have a huge barn and part of it's fenced in. And then we have the back area, which the previous owners had pigs, and they had like a partial pig barn and several paddocks out there for their pigs. And so there's a giant space out back too, but we haven't done anything with it, and it's all grown up. So eventually at some point we would like to do something back there. But you know, we just moved in like a couple years ago, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done to the house, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done outside, and so we thought it would be easier just to start with the garden. So that's what we did. So thank you, Brighton Farm Homestead, for stopping in and everything. It is 10:36, but I don't think there's anybody in the community that goes on this late on Wednesday nights. I think that's why I chose this, is because I didn't think there would be that many homesteaders going live. So, but well, you can't get attached to the Cornish cross meat birds because they aren't there long enough. Yes, one, they aren't there long enough, and they're ugly. They're really ugly, you know, and I used to think that about the turkeys too, because the turkeys do look, I mean, the white ones, the regular, you know, white ones, they're ugly. And so, but I did get attached to them, and we had them all summer. And then in September, end of August, actually, my husband's like, I can't feed these guys anymore. So they're getting butchered. And so we butchered them, and you know, it did work out. We gave some of the turkeys away to the people that helped us butcher. I gave one of the turkeys to my neighbors. My aunt got one down the street. My mom got one for Thanksgiving. My husband's mom got one, and then we have 2 yet left. And then one of the turkeys was injured. I think the tom tried to mate with her, and anybody that knows anything about market turkeys is that the tom usually gets so huge that it cannot mate. It cannot mate with the hens, and it will end up hurting them or killing them. And so I think it stabbed it in the back with one of its talons. And we ended up throwing some of the meat away, but we did keep the thigh or the legs or something like that. So I have those in the freezer. Yeah, they are ugly. And the Cornish cross birds, like, especially from like, we do fair every year, and my daughter shows the turkeys, and she did have rabbits, but her rabbits passed away. So then we started doing the turkeys, and every year people bring, you know, those Cornish crosses to the fair, and they are just so ugly. They're just like, I don't know if I can get attached to that. So we are getting leg bars, which I'm really excited. We're getting leg bars on the 18th. And at first I didn't want those either because they look like the Cornish cross kind of. They're not like as fat, but they're just like a standard white chicken. And I'm like, who wants just a regular white chicken? I wanted something with like some color or something. But then I read up on them, and they're supposed to lay like 300 eggs a year, and we're getting 8 of them. And I cannot wait. I'm going to start doing farmers markets and start doing a lot of eggs. And I mean, this week alone, I sold like 5 or 6 dozen eggs this week alone, just from my neighbors. And I'm really excited about that. My neighbors really like it and love my eggs. And they posted on Facebook about how much they love my eggs. And I go overboard. I do, I paint my cartons and I make them look cute. And I do have blue eggs. I have green eggs. I have regular brown. And then I have lavender Orpingtons that do this pink egg or something like that. And it's kind of a lighter brown. It looks pinkish. And so they just absolutely love my eggs. And so I'm really happy about that. Not to mention the family members that have shown tremendous support in us with the chickens. So I'm sitting on 24 acres where the house is, and I have 17 across the road where the other pole barn and hay barn in the ground garden, then 40 more of mostly hay field and 2 fish ponds, lambs, and rabbits. That is so cool. And I totally love that. That's so cool. Keto Jess says, my female turkey passed away yesterday. So no turkey eggs this year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And I would be devastated. Our turkey out back, we've had her for 2 years now. And she was the smallest out of the group. I think that's why we ended up saving her to begin with, because she wasn't really even worth eating, I guess. And so we've kept her, but she is huge now. She's like a 30-pound turkey, and she's just amazing. And she's so spoiled. We got her so spoiled. Every time I bring the bucket of I scratch out to her, she eats from the bucket. And it's so funny because she really just tells the roosters where to go, man. She does. And like, I was feeding them in the run one day because it was raining and I didn't want them out in the rain anymore. And I'm like calling her in, and if you go like that, she'll start popping up, and she'll be, and she'll talk to you a little bit. And so she coming in the run, and there was I have a male Easter egger, rooster, and she saw him in the way of the door, and she just pecks him and pulls out a bunch of his tail feathers, and he goes, ah, It was so funny. She is the ruler of the chicken roost. I tell you what, it's so funny. Oh, how nice. I have seen some of the pictures you do on the packages, and they are so cute. I actually thought about doing this when we start the farmers markets. So cool, but don't overwhelm yourself, because, I love to paint. And I've never really shown a whole lot of my artwork on Facebook, but I love to paint, and I paint a lot. And I love to paint on the cartons, but don't overwhelm yourself with that, because I keep reminding myself, especially for farmers markets, that the cartons are going home to them and they're just going to throw them away. But my neighbors and stuff know better, and they bring them back to me. So sorry to hear that, Keto Jess. Yeah, that is really sad. I would be really sad if my turkey passed away. And she laid 60 eggs last year, 60. And usually they don't lay that much, but she did. She laid 60 eggs, and she was, everybody loves her. Her name is Dixie. Hey, Wiccan Chickens, what's going on, girl? How are you doing? Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. I guess I'll go a little bit longer tonight because I'm starting to get more people in here. It's so cool. I love that. I love hanging out. I love chatting, and I love to talk about chickens. I love it. So, yeah, and I felt that's one thing about keeping my turkey is I felt really, really good about keeping her too. It made me feel good in my heart to know that we at least saved one out of all the ones that we have butchered. So it made me feel good. I'm like, she was the one that we saved, so it made me feel good in my heart to know that we saved her. And, every time I go out there, I always tease her a little bit. I call her the big lady, and she has big ankles, and I just love that turkey. She is so cute. And oh, I can't hand feed her because she'll peck your fingers off. I mean, she's just vicious when it comes to the food. She's like, and the way she walks is hilarious. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was told that Along the River Homestead was live this evening, but I had already had this planned for a couple weeks, so. But yeah, so totally cool. Turkeys I fall in love with, and we do let them free range when they are here. When they get a little bit bigger, we do let them free range. And, you know, it's sad because I don't know if my husband wants to do turkeys again, because he got attached to them too, you know. And hey, Tina Ladybug, what's up, girl? How are you doing? And so he got attached to him too. And so I don't know, but he really, really wants to get some heritage breeds, because he wants to get some males. And so, and the males last or live longer, from what we've been told. So, all right. Well, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, well, for most of you that, you know, or just came in, we already talked about a lot of things. I talked about herbs, I talked about essential oils, and then we were talking about fodder with your chickens and stuff. So I plan on doing fodder just so I can supplement on my feed, because it's really expensive. It's about $50 a week for us, and we don't really have a mill around here. If I did have a mill, I would definitely price check and see, but right now the only place that we can get our feed from is a Tractor Supply. So yeah, so it's about $50 a week in that, and I'm hoping that I can supplement. And you know, I can supplement with garden things, but you really can't feed your chickens enough garden stuff. I mean, you really have to feed them a bunch of garden stuff every day, and I don't eat that much of that. I mean, I do, but I don't, like, not to give them. So I ordered stickers from Amazon with my name on them, email and P.O. box, so people usually send them back, egg cartons. And when I sell meat birds, it has the price per pound and weight. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, well, that's really good about the egg cartons too. I have been saving egg cartons. I've got thousands of them sitting on my front porch. So I've been saving egg cartons just for the fact that I do want to do farmers market. Yeah, and check your local hardware store for what? For chicken feed? I don't know what you mean by that. For the egg cartons. I'm confused. Sorry. But yeah, so Wiccan chickens. Do you still have chickens, or do you not have the chickens anymore? Or are you getting chickens or plan to? I know at one point you said you had chickens, but then you had to leave the place where you were living, so you couldn't have them anymore. So yeah, so start giving your compost scraps and leftovers to the chickens. It does help with cost. Okay, well, I'll do that, but I didn't think I could give them enough because I have 40 chickens, and I'm about to get 8 more, so I didn't think I could give them enough scrap. I mean, I only have 3 people living in the house, unless I ask the neighbors and stuff, hey, give me your scraps. When I lost my house a year ago, I had to give them away. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I am really attached, not attracted. That's screwed up. No. I'm really attached to my birds. I really am. And specifically my roosters. They have so much personality, and none of them are mean. So I would feel really bad if I had to give them up. I'd be really upset. I have some really cool roosters. So oh yeah, definitely. And that's another thing. You really do have to look where you're going to move to and do some research, because a lot of people don't allow you to have chickens, or they don't allow you to have a rooster. And that's really sad. And I really, the place where I was living before, I lived in the city, and they allowed you to have up to 5 chickens. So you could have 5 chickens. So I thought about doing that, but I lived in the city in a not so nice neighborhood. So I didn't want to get them and then have somebody do something to them. Or something, or my yard was fenced in, but you know, like I didn't want to have somebody jump the fence and try to kill my chickens, or you know, or something like that. I could have just seen that happening. So I have 20, I have 26 chickens and buy 4 bags of feed a month. You may be overfeeding. Yeah, that's exactly how many bags. It's fit. Maybe we. I don't know. I'm gonna ask my husband again. We may be overfeeding. Yeah, I definitely don't want to overfeed my birds because that costs money. And another thing we have, like I said, we have a huge rat problem, and they eat the feed. Even though we close it off, they still, you know, we still have a huge issue there. And it was something from previous owners. And yeah, we just, I mean, I don't really know how we're going to get rid of them. We've tried traps, we've tried mouse X, and I don't want to put poison out there because I have dogs and stuff like that, and I don't want anything to happen to my birds either, you know? So, yeah. Let's see. You have 15 ducks. Wow, that's really cool. What kind of ducks do you have? Because I really like those. What is the one that Goldshot Farm has? He has like a couple of. They're like those black. Is it Muscovy? I can't really remember. Toledo allows them, but my landlord does not. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, you got to find a place. And right now, if you can, right now, you definitely want to buy a house if you can. Buy a house and get that low interest rate, because right now, I think we just refinanced our house for 2.5% interest. So that's definitely something that you want to consider doing. Yeah, I think prices do vary in different areas depending. Like I'm sure prices in Iowa versus Ohio, because there is corn and stuff there, and I'm sure feed costs are probably a lot lower versus Iowa versus here. So yeah. And it didn't help, like maybe a couple years ago, the corn, we had massive amounts of rain in Ohio, and farmers lost a lot of crops, particularly corn. So go to your local grocery store. They usually give you the day-old produce. Good idea. I might have to do that. That'd be great. Right now, I have been completely avoiding the grocery store. I am kind of a prepper, and I do buy 2 months of food at once. So I don't go to the grocery store unless I absolutely have to. But in the summertime, my birds live high and mighty because I plant a ton of stuff, and we can never eat it all. I mean, I can it, but you know, we never eat it all. So I do. And then like, for Halloween, I had a ton of pumpkins. So I gave them all of my pumpkins, stuff like that. So they do get scraps. I just don't know if they'll get enough to actually to feel full and feed themselves. I may be moving out of the country in the future. Oh, where are you moving to, Wiccan chickens? Put your feed in an old deep freeze. Oh, yeah, we put our feed, we have one of those automatic feeders, and then my husband fills it up with 1 bag. But we do have really old, not really old, I can't remember what they're called. I think they had olive oil or something, or olives or something in them, and they are barrels, giant food grade barrels. That's what they're called. And we got a bunch of those, and we put the feed in there, and then they have a lock. Oh, okay. All right, you're gonna move to Mexico. That sounds good. Me either. I raise most of my food. Put your feet in the old doom. Yeah. Yeah, it's just hard to keep. It's hard to keep mice and rats out. It really is. We try, and you know what's funny is rats are really smart, and so you put out a trap, and yeah, you can catch like 5 or 6, which is, you know, not that great. of a number. But you can't put that trap out again because then they get smart to it. So you have to wait like a couple more months and then set that trap out. So then they forget. So yeah, rats are extremely smart. And yeah, it's really hard. It's hard to get rid of them. Yeah, Tina Ladybug back here when she said that her dad used to give pig scraps to him. Yeah, pigs would just love that. Absolutely love that. Hey, Firefly Farm, what's up, girl? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. And previously, I'm staying on a little bit longer because I had a bunch of people in here, which is really cool, and I really appreciate your support. Before we were talking about essential oils and medicinal herbs, and I was talking about fodder. So we were, there was a bunch of conversation about that, and we had a really good chat. For those that you missed, don't forget to just relay, the video afterwards or whatever, and take a look and watch. You might learn something. And the Big Blue House Homestead, she is really knowledgeable, and she had a lot of knowledge to give, and so did Skinner Farms, and you might actually learn some really cool things. So take a look at the video afterwards. You can add a layer of Vaseline around the rim opening and stick poison to it. I saw that on another channel. Got rid of rats. That's a really, really good thing to point out. I really appreciate that. Very good to know. I don't know. I don't know if you guys watch. My husband really likes Sean Woods. Highly suggest watching him. He does Mousetrap Mondays. If you're really interested in that, he talks about the history of mousetraps, and then he always tests them out. So he tests them out on real mouse and rats and stuff like that. So I highly suggest watching him, and he's really knowledgeable in rats and stuff. So definitely check that out. Sean Woods, and he has multiple channels, but Mousetrap Mondays are the ones that you want to watch if you're really interested in that kind of stuff. Thanks for Awakened Chickens for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Yeah, I do have a deep freezer that doesn't work. It was my grandparents, and the previous owners had left it behind. It was a giant deep freeze. Unfortunately, over the course of years of having it, the mice they ate right through the bottom of it, and so then it's absolutely useless. So let me see. If you have a deep freezer that doesn't work, they can't lift the lid to get into it. And buy it as many bags as you can at a time. Open the bags and dump the feed in a coffee can a day to your chickens. Oh, yeah, the antique. Yeah, he's the antique mousetrap guy. So you'll have to watch him. I get bored sometimes. I'm a girl. I don't want to watch this guy, but some of his traps are really cool and historical. Like he has patents on them, and he does pull them together. He's like, "Oh, this trap, it came from 1800s, and we're gonna test it out today." And then he always just does the pointing finger. He goes like this and points at the trap. It's hilarious. So you'll have to watch, and it's really cool. And his wife is really knowledgeable. And actually, Sean Woods himself is actually really knowledgeable in grains and different stuff. And he gets seeds. He's like, this grain was grown in the 1800s, and I'm going to attempt to grow it. I mean, he's really smart, so, it's kind of cool. Cool to watch. He has multiple channels, but the Mousetrap Mondays is what you want to watch if you're interested in that. But, yeah, so, all right, guys, it's going to be 11 o'clock. I've never been on this long before. It's like a marathon. It's like a marathon of Garden Talk with Cortney. So I really appreciate it, guys. I think I'm going to end the chat. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out and coming and stopping by and stuff. We had a wonderful chat. I love talking about herbs, and I might be doing that more often. Maybe I'll do like Herb Talk Wednesdays or something like that, but we'll see. So I really appreciate y'all talking. And oh, okay, that's a good thing to know. Feed your chickens a coffee can a day or a 4-quart scooper. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to consider that for sure. So I really appreciate y'all coming by, and thanks for watching. I'm going to end the chat. And if you are new, like you know, showed up at the last minute, don't forget to relay it. I mean, you can watch it again and read the chat, because that is a ton of information right there. So I appreciate y'all for stopping by, and thanks for hanging out with me and Garden Talk with Cortney. Have a good night.